There is a power greater than strength, wealth, or status. A power that bends minds, controls decisions, and shapes reality itself. The most dangerous part? Those under its influence never even realize it. Mind control is not a myth. It is a science. And whether you know it or not, it has already been used on you. Think of a time when you changed your opinion. Was it truly your choice? Have you ever trusted someone only to realize later that they had been manipulating you all along? What if I told you that the world is filled with unseen puppet masters, pulling the strings of those who think they are free? Governments, corporations, con artists, even the people closest to you, some of them understand the art of influence, and they use it to shape your thoughts without you ever noticing. But here is the real question. Can you learn to do the same? Can you uncover the secrets of psychological manipulation, not to fall victim to it, but to master it? Tonight, we step into the shadows where the real power lies. By the time this ends, you will never look at the world the same way again. But be careful. Once you see the truth, you can never unsee it. Introduction, 800 to 1,000 words. Power is not always about physical strength or wealth. True power is the ability to control minds without force, to make people act against their own will while making them believe it was their idea all along. This is the art of influence, a force so subtle, so deeply embedded in our daily lives that most people never even recognize it. Imagine a man standing in a courtroom. He is guilty. The evidence against him is overwhelming. Yet as the trial unfolds, he walks free, not because he proved his innocence, but because the jury believed his words over the facts. He spoke in a way that made them feel something. His body language, his tone, his carefully chosen pauses, everything was engineered to bend perception in his favor. The prosecutor had logic, the defendant had control. And in the battle between reason and influence, influence always wins. Now take a moment and look at your own life. How many times have you trusted someone who later betrayed you? How many times have you bought something you did not need simply because an advertisement made it irresistible? How often do you agree with an idea just because everyone else does? You might believe you are in control of your thoughts, your choices, your emotions, but the truth is, someone else has been writing the script of your life all along. This knowledge is both terrifying and liberating, because once you see the invisible strings, you can never be controlled again. You will start noticing the hidden tricks people use to manipulate, deceive, and persuade. You will recognize the psychological tactics in advertisements, speeches, negotiations, even in casual conversations. And most importantly, you will learn how to turn the game in your favor. History is filled with people who mastered the dark art of mind control. Some used it for power, others for survival. And then there were those who used it to rewrite history itself. Take Edward Bernays, the man who manipulated entire nations without them ever realizing it. In the 1920s, women smoking in public was considered unacceptable. But Bernays, a master of psychological persuasion, saw an opportunity. He rebranded cigarettes as a symbol of female empowerment, calling them torches of freedom. Overnight, women across the country started smoking, believing they were making an independent choice. In reality, their choices had already been pre-programmed into their minds. And that is just one example. Governments use these tactics. Corporations use them. Even the people closest to you, friends, family, lovers, use subtle psychological strategies to get what they want. The only question is, will you remain blind to it, or will you open your eyes and learn how to master this power for yourself? Now we step into the shadows. The next few minutes will change the way you see the world forever. Let us begin. Most people believe they are in control of their thoughts, decisions, and desires. They assume their opinions are entirely their own, shaped by personal experiences and independent reasoning. But what if that belief itself was an illusion, one carefully crafted by unseen forces? The truth is, human psychology is not as independent as we like to think. Every day we are subtly influenced by the words people use, the way information is presented, and even the things that remain unsaid. This is not a conspiracy. It is simply how the human mind works. The brain craves patterns, shortcuts, and familiar ideas, making it vulnerable to manipulation disguised as normality. Take, for example, the Asch conformity experiment conducted in the 1950s by psychologist Solomon Asch. Participants were placed in a group where everyone except them was secretly working with the researchers. The group was shown a series of lines and asked which ones were the same length. At first, the group gave the correct answers, but then the actors started deliberately giving the wrong answers. And what happened next was shocking. Most real participants, despite clearly seeing the correct answer, started agreeing with the wrong majority. They knew it was wrong, but the pressure to conform overpowered their own judgment. Now imagine how this plays out on a much larger scale. What if the things you believe to be true were never your beliefs to begin with? What if society, media, and even the people around you have been subtly shaping your mind all along? History is filled with hidden truths that were kept from the masses. Governments have used psychological tactics to control populations. Corporations have manipulated consumers into spending more money, and individuals individuals have influenced others for their personal gain, all without their targets ever realizing it. The scariest part? Most people never question it. One of the greatest illusions ever created is the idea that knowledge is freely available. Yes, we live in the information age, but information is filtered, controlled, and carefully framed. The way a news story is told can change how millions of people perceive an event. The way a product is advertised can make someone believe they need it, even if they never did. The way history is written can erase uncomfortable truths while glorifying convenient narratives. The world we see is not necessarily the world as it is the world as it has been presented to us. And those who understand this truth hold an immense advantage over those who do not. But now that you know this, what will you do with it? The deeper we go, the more unsettling it becomes. In the next section, we will explore exactly how these psychological tactics are used in everyday life and why they are so dangerously effective. Every day, without realizing it, people are exposed to psychological tactics designed to shape their thoughts, emotions, and decisions. These tactics are not just random tricks. They are carefully crafted strategies used by corporations, governments, and even individuals to influence human behavior. The most dangerous part? Most people never notice they are being manipulated. Imagine walking into a store with no intention of buying anything. Yet within minutes, you feel drawn to a particular product, not because you need it, but because something about its placement, packaging, or advertisement has triggered an emotional response. This is not an accident. It is psychology in action. Advertisers know exactly which colors evoke trust, which words create urgency, and how to make you feel like you are making an independent decision when, in reality, you are being subtly guided. The power of persuasion extends far beyond shopping. Political leaders have used psychological techniques for centuries to control public perception. By carefully choosing words, repeating certain messages, and tapping into emotions like fear or hope, they can steer entire populations in a desired direction. The human brain is wired to seek patterns, and when information is presented in a way that feels familiar or emotionally charged, it bypasses logical thinking. This is why propaganda is so effective. It does not need to be true. It just needs to be repeated enough times for people to believe it. But these tactics are not only used by corporations and governments. They exist in personal relationships as well. Think about a time when someone made you doubt your own memory, making you question whether an event really happened the way you remember it. That is psychological manipulation at its finest. Some people use guilt, silent treatment, or false praise to control others without them ever realizing it. The human need for approval and belonging makes people vulnerable to these tactics, even when they suspect something is off. One of the most unsettling aspects of dark psychology is that it thrives in plain sight. People assume they are making independent choices, unaware that external forces are constantly nudging them in a particular direction. The more aware you become of these tactics, the more you start noticing them everywhere. In advertisements, political speeches, even in conversations with friends and family. And once you see them, you can never unsee them. But knowledge alone is not enough. To truly break free from these hidden influences, one must understand how power works and how the most influential individuals use psychology to shape the world around them. In the next section, we will explore the psychology of power, how it is gained, how it is maintained, and how you can use it to protect yourself from manipulation. Power is not just about wealth or status. True power lies in the ability to control perception, influence decisions, and shape reality itself. The most powerful individuals in history have understood one fundamental truth. People are not controlled by force, they are controlled by their own minds. Once you understand how the psychology of power works, you will start seeing the hidden mechanisms behind leadership, persuasion, and manipulation. At the core of power lies the ability to create belief. When people believe in something strongly enough, they will act in ways that align with that belief, often without questioning it. Religious leaders, monarchs, and dictators have all mastered this technique. They build narratives so compelling that followers willingly devote their lives to the cause. The same principle applies in modern times. Corporate executives craft visions of success that employees strive to achieve. Social media influencers create lifestyles that followers try to imitate, and politicians sell ideologies that shape entire societies. Power is, at its essence, the control of belief systems. But how do individuals gain this level of influence? One of the most effective techniques is authority. When someone is perceived as an authority figure, people are more likely to trust and obey them, even when their instructions seem questionable. This was demonstrated in the infamous Milgram experiment, where ordinary people administered what they believed to be harmful electric shocks to others simply because an authority figure instructed them to do so. The results were disturbing. Most participants continued to follow orders, despite their discomfort, proving that authority can override morality. Another key element of power is scarcity. People place higher value on things that seem rare or exclusive. This is why luxury brands, secret societies, and elite clubs maintain an aura of exclusivity, because the fewer people who have access, the more desirable it becomes. Politicians and corporate leaders use this tactic as well, creating a sense of urgency or limited limited opportunity to push people into action. Scarcity fuels desire, and desire is one of the strongest motivators of human behavior. Fear is another powerful tool. When people are afraid, they become more susceptible to influence. This is why fear-based propaganda has been used for centuries to control populations and justify extreme actions. When people believe they are in danger, they seek protection, often placing their trust in those who claim to offer security. Governments, media outlets, and even small-scale manipulators use fear to keep people dependent and compliant. However, power is not just about controlling others. It is also about protecting yourself from being controlled. The strongest individuals are those who recognize when they are being manipulated and refuse to play the game. They question authority, they see through illusions of scarcity, and they do not allow fear to dictate their actions. True power comes from awareness, the ability to see the forces at play and make decisions based on logic rather than emotional manipulation. Understanding the psychology of power is only the first step. To truly break free, you must reprogram your mind, shedding the beliefs and conditioning that have kept you trapped. In the next section, we will explore how to build mental resilience, resist manipulation, and take full control of your thoughts and actions. Understanding how manipulation works is only half the battle. True freedom comes when you take control of your own mind, rewiring the way you think, breaking free from psychological traps, and developing an unshakable sense of self. The world is filled with forces trying to influence your decisions, emotions, and beliefs. If you are not aware, you will remain a pawn in someone else's game. But once you learn to reprogram your mind, you become immune to these tactics. The first step to mental reprogramming is self-awareness. Most people go through life reacting to situations without questioning why they feel or act a certain way. They get angry, anxious, or insecure, believing these emotions are natural responses. But often these emotions are not truly theirs. They are the result of conditioning. Media, society, and past experiences shape the way people react. By taking a step back and analyzing your thoughts objectively, you begin to see patterns of manipulation that were once invisible. Every time you feel an intense emotion, ask yourself, is this truly how I feel, or is this how I was conditioned to react? Next comes breaking free from emotional triggers. Manipulators thrive on controlling emotions. They know that when people are emotional, they are easier to control. Advertisers use urgency to make you panic buy. Political leaders use outrage to gain support. Toxic individuals use guilt to keep you under their influence. The key to breaking free is emotional detachment, not in the sense of becoming cold or robotic, but in learning to pause before reacting. When you feel yourself being pulled into an emotional response, take a breath, analyze the situation logically, and choose your response instead of reacting impulsively. Another critical element of mental reprogramming is the ability to challenge your beliefs. Many people hold on to ideas simply because they have believed them for so long. But beliefs are powerful. They shape perception, behavior, and reality. Those in control of society understand this, which is why they work so hard to shape public opinion. If you want to break free, you must be willing to question everything, even the things you believe most strongly. Ask yourself, where did this belief come from? Who benefits from me believing this? What if the opposite were true? The more you question, the more you take control of your own thoughts. Building mental resilience is also crucial. Manipulators look for weaknesses, insecurities, doubts, fears, and exploit them. The stronger your mind, the harder it becomes for anyone to influence you. This means developing a deep sense of self-worth that is not dependent on external validation. When you know who you are and what you stand for, outside opinions lose their power. Daily affirmations, meditation, and even journaling can help reinforce this inner strength, reminding you that your thoughts and actions should be dictated by you, not by external forces. Lastly, take control of your environment. The information you consume, the people you surround yourself with, and the habits you develop all shape your mind. If you constantly expose yourself to negativity, fear, and manipulation, your thoughts will reflect that. But if you fill your mind with knowledge, logic, and positivity, you become mentally unbreakable. Choose your influences wisely. The strongest minds are not the ones who know everything. They are the ones who know what to ignore. Reprogramming your mind is not about shutting out the world. It is about seeing it for what it truly is and refusing to be controlled by it. Once you master this, you will no longer be a puppet in someone else's game. Instead, you will hold the strings, and that is real power. What if everything you thought you knew about control was an illusion? What if the choices you make, the emotions you feel, and even the beliefs you hold were never truly yours to begin with? The reality is far more unsettling than most people are willing to accept. Your mind has been shaped, molded, and manipulated from the moment you were born. And the most dangerous part, you never even noticed. Society does not want individuals who think for themselves. It thrives on predictability, obedience, and controlled behavior. From childhood, you are taught what is right and wrong, not through deep understanding, but through repetition and reinforcement. The books you read, the movies you watch, the news you consume, all carefully curated to shape a certain perception of the world. Even your fears, your desires, your goals, are they truly your own? Or are they carefully implanted ideas designed to keep you within an invisible boundary? The greatest trick ever played on humanity was convincing people that they are free when in reality, their minds are shackled. True power lies in recognizing the illusion. Think about it. If someone can control how you think, do they not also control what you do? The decisions you make each day, what you buy, where you go, who you trust, are not always conscious choices, but responses to years of subtle conditioning. Advertisers make you believe you need things you never wanted. Politicians manipulate emotions to push their own agendas. Social norms dictate what is acceptable, leaving little room for individual thought. And all the while, you feel as if you are in control. But here is the truth. Control is a game, and the ones who win are the ones who understand the rules. The moment you become aware of the forces that shape your thinking, you take the first step toward true freedom. You stop reacting mindlessly and start questioning everything. You recognize when someone is trying to push you toward a decision that benefits them, not you. You see through manipulation tactics that once influenced you without your awareness. And most importantly, you begin to think independently, free from the psychological chains that once bound you. This is where the shift happens. Most people will live their entire lives without ever realizing they were trapped in a system designed to control them. But you now hold the key to escape. The world is no longer a mystery. It is a battlefield of influence, and you are no longer a pawn. From this point forward, you have a choice. Remain in the illusion, comfortably unaware of the strings pulling your mind, or break free and take control of your own thoughts, actions, and destiny. The question is, are you ready to see the world for what it really is? Everything you have just learned reveals a hidden reality, one where control is not always obvious, but it is always present. The psychological tricks that shape our thoughts, the invisible influences that guide our choices, and the power structures that dictate what we believe are not coincidences. They are part of a system that thrives on our ignorance. But now you are no longer in the dark. We have explored the hidden truth behind manipulation, the ways dark psychology operates in everyday life, and how power is wielded through subtle yet effective psychological strategies. More importantly, you now understand how to break free by questioning everything, recognizing manipulation when it happens, and strengthening your own mind against external control. The most dangerous weapon in the world is not a gun or a bomb. It is a well-placed idea. Those who know how to plant these ideas rule the world. Those who do not remain controlled by them. But here is where the real challenge begins. Knowledge alone is not enough. Awareness without action changes nothing. The world will continue to manipulate, deceive, and influence those who are unaware. But you have a choice. You can either let these forces dictate your life, or you can take control and master the art of influence for yourself. You now have the tools to see through deception, to guard your mind against manipulation, and to navigate the world with a level of awareness most people will never achieve. The question is, what will you do with this power? Will you forget what you have learned, returning to a life where unseen forces guide your every move? Or will you sharpen your mind, question everything, and take control of your own destiny? The choice is yours. Tell me in the comments. Have you ever noticed these tricks being used on you? Have you ever caught yourself making decisions that, in hindsight, were not truly your own? Share your thoughts below. And if you want to dive even deeper into the world of dark psychology, stay tuned. There is still so much more to uncover.